In 2018, Netflix hired esteemed film music composer Hans Zimmer to rework their iconic Sonic logo Tudum for the cinematic context. This video essay explores the compositional strategies and commercial context of this campaign, whilst addressing issues on streaming, branding, and the role of the composer in the contemporary film music industry. From relatively humble beginnings as a DVD by mail service, Netflix has grown into one of the most influential creators of film and television. Its continued success and dominance has largely been attributed to their reinvestment in original content and their strong branding identity, spearheaded by their Sonic logo, Ta-dum. Sonic logos, jingles, and audiovisual idents, the station identification logos of radio and television, have been powerful tools in the advertisement and branding of services and products. Todd Yellin, head of product experience at Netflix, revealed,
"Shouldn't we have a sound that when you hear that, it makes you think of, wow, I'm about to get a treat. I'm about to get an amazing story that's very relevant to me. And that's most importantly, cinematic in my home."
Unlike the traditional television idents of the BBC, Channel 4, or HBO, or the longer Sonic logos of film studios such as 20th Century's Fanfare or Universal's Spinning Globe, Netflix's Sonic logo had to be short.
Some of the grander sound idents you can imagine, like THX, great one, it's really long. The dun-dun-dun-dun from 20th Century Fox, long. Even Leo the Lion was too long. Because in our age of click and play, you get to Netflix, you want to be able to click, and there's no patience, and you want that great experience, and you almost want it immediately. So the first thing is it had to be short. Past that, I said, I don't want an electronic sound that is reminiscent of a game platform like Xbox, or a computer like Apple, or an operating system like Microsoft launching. Because we are in the entertainment business, and even though we are the double helix of entertainment and technology coming together, wanted to make sure that it sounded more cinematic than electronic and computer-ish.
Under the guidance of Yellin, Academy Award-winning sound designer Lon Bender and his composer collaborator Charlie Campagna developed the following sound. This is broken up into two main sections. Firstly, the two hits that reflect the onomatopoeic Ta-dum name, constructed from a recording of Bender's wedding ring knocking the side of his bedroom cabinet. This sound is then layered with a slowed down recording of an anvil strike, and two additional muted bass hits. A layering technique used in the film sound industry known as sweetening, where any one sound is typically made up of multiple combining sounds. Secondly, these hits are followed by an ethereal blossoming sound that is derived from a recording of reversed electric guitar.
Back in, I would say, the 90s, I bought a piece of gear by Digitech called the 2101. Really cool reverbs and delays and such. I was trying to learn the unit. I plugged into it, and I also had another piece of gear called the Lexicon Jam Man. You could loop what you're playing and it reverses it. One particular sound stood out at that time, which is the blossom sound that's used.
Together, these elements of music and sound became the iconic ident for Netflix's original content, spanning a diverse array of original programming, from drama to comedy, romance to action, factual to fantasy. DeLucia suggests, since its debut in 2015, Ta-dum has become more than just a sound. It has a behavioural effect on viewers, prompting us to snuggle into our sofas for a few hours of escapism, turning our living rooms into cinemas. However, while it seemed Netflix's Sonic logo was highly effective in the context of home video, click and play, and multi-episodic binge watching, Netflix's strategic move towards the acquisition, production, and distribution of feature-length films, which included theatrical exhibition as well as on-demand streaming, presented problems for their 3-second ident. From 2015, Netflix began to mirror the early business models of the subsidiaries of conglomerated Hollywood of the 1980s, media convergence of the 1990s, and standalone independent film studios of the 2000s, through an initial acquisition and distribution model. As many of Netflix's acquired feature film properties began to screen in theatres around the world, at international film festivals or award-qualifying theatrical runs, the initial 3-second Ta-dum, instead of feeling cinematic in the home, began to feel underwhelming in the cinema.
We were sitting in a theater and the Tudum would come on and then the film would start, and it felt so short and so abrupt that you really didn't quite understand what you even saw before you just dove right into the film. So that was the first problem we were trying to solve, is how do you really set the movie mood and set people up for this experience that they're about to see? We are separating our films from our series in a way. You're in a theater, you're here for the long experience, whether it's an hour and a half, whether it's 2 hours, you're here to hear the whole story, to really sit down and experience it in a theater.
While the original Ta-dum communicated a short-form cinematic gesture to a home audience, Netflix knew that to achieve a fuller cinematic experience in a theatrical environment, they would need to develop their sonic branding to utilise the acoustic space provided by a theatrical sound system, update their visual branding for the big screen, and signal their evolution from video-on-demand home viewing to theatrical exhibition and blockbuster streaming. To achieve this task, they enlisted the help of Hollywood's most in-demand film composer, Hans Zimmer. Having had previous musical success playing keyboards and synthesizers in British bands in the 1970s, most notably the Buggles, who had worldwide success with their breakthrough single Video Killed the Radio Star, Hans began working in the 1980s at Aerodel, a London-based music advertising agency founded by legendary music producer George Martin. As the company evolved towards representing composers for film, most notably Stanley Myers, Zimmer too began working in film as his assistant, progressing to co-composer on numerous film projects with Myers between 84 and 88. Zimmer eventually graduated to score Rain Man, marking Hans's transition to autonomy and major Hollywood film scoring. Over 3 decades later, Zimmer has over 200 feature film score credits, which combined have grossed more than $28 billion at the worldwide box office and earned him 2 Academy Awards, 3 Golden Globes, 3 Grammys, an American Music Award, and a Tony Award, with countless more nominations. While his approach to composition is as diverse as the films he has scored, his music is broadly notable for integrating electronic music and sounds with traditional orchestral arrangements, pioneering the epic hybrid approach to film scoring. This hybrid aesthetic is demonstrated perhaps most palpably in films such as the Dark Knight trilogy, Man of Steel, or Inception, with the heavy use of rhythmic string ostinatos, soaring brass melodies, and bolshy bombastic percussion, combined with electronic synthesis and MIDI-triggered samples, recorded and mixed with contemporary approaches to audio production and processing. In addition to composers such as Erich Wolfgang Korngold, Bernard Herrmann, Wendy Carlos, Jerry Goldsmith, or John Williams, Hans Zimmer has become one of the most innovative and influential film composers in history, redefining the sound of cinema over his well-established and continuing career. Zimmer's stature in Hollywood, his contemporary approaches to film scoring, and even his early experience in music advertising made him the ideal candidate to rebrand Netflix's sonic logo for the new cinematic context. Moreover, Hans had previously established a successful collaboration with Netflix on their hit series, The Crown.
Who had we worked with that we really liked and enjoyed working with, and also who had a, kind of a brand tie to us. So someone who had actually worked on our original content or had experience on our production sets. And, we ended up working with Hans Zimmer, mostly because he did a lot of work with us on The Crown. I don't know if you've heard the soundtrack for The Crown. It's beautiful, it's very iconic. It just has the simplicity and elegance to it that we thought was perfect for bringing into our brand as well.
The main title music for The Crown, composed by Zimmer, reflects his minimalistic approach to melodic and harmonic movement that repeats and builds in dynamics and texture through string ostinatos, weighty brass lines that are later reinforced by soaring string melodies, and percussion that favours the low-end frequencies, all executed through maximalist approaches to production. While Kumar wanted to bring the simplicity and elegance, yet epic and iconic qualities of Zimmer's main theme for The Crown to the cinematic rebranding of Netflix's sonic logo, she also noted they wanted to keep the original Ta-dum sound within this new extended version.
We wanted to make sure that that was the tie back to our brand and that we didn't lose sight of something that our members and non-members really loved. So how do you tie in something that's so iconic and only 4 seconds long into something that is a much longer experience? I think he immediately picked up on what we needed and we landed on one that we really liked.
And here it is. This epic orchestral hybrid and extended variation of the original Ta-dum reflects the elegance and grandeur of the main title for The Crown, as well as the compositional and production approaches to many other Zimmer scores. In 2018, Netflix debuted their cinematic Ta-dum ahead of the theatrical world premiere of their latest property, Alfonso Cuarón's highly anticipated feature film Roma, during the 75th Venice International Film Festival. The film went on to win 8 awards at the festival, including the Golden Lion and the Grand Jury Prize. Months later, Roma won 2 BAFTAs and was nominated for 10 Academy Awards, winning 3. Unlike films previously released by streamers that were exclusively on demand, Netflix's Roma was able to receive these award recognitions due to meeting eligibility criteria of a limited theatrical run taking place prior to Netflix's distribution across its platform. Following this critical success, Netflix continued its transition to a major film production studio by agreeing to not just distribute, but to develop, finance, produce and theatrically distribute Martin Scorsese's Academy Award and BAFTA nominated film The Irishman, and Noah Baumbach's Academy Award, BAFTA and Golden Globe winning Marriage Story. With growing budgets of $150 million for Red Notice, $159 million for The Irishman, or $200 million for The Grey Man, Netflix has fully transitioned from episodic series and independent film distribution to blockbuster streaming and theatrical exhibition. While Zimmer's Sonic logo for Netflix is emblematic of this change, Hans's continuing legacy has expanded to other Sonic branding, business and media ventures that question the role and responsibilities of a film composer in the contemporary environment. In 2018, Zimmer composed an original score to a 2-minute film of him behind the wheel of Land Rover's new Range Rover as part of an advertising campaign for the new line of cars. The music reflects Zimmer's fast-paced accented string ostinatos, soaring heroic brass melodies, electroacoustic hybrid instrumentation and epic percussion, realizing the minimalistic composition with maximalist production values he is renowned for. Additionally, Hans was hired by BMW to compose original sounds for their new electronic vehicle range. Dubbed the Orchestra of Silence, these sounds include engine startup, acceleration, and other vehicle operation noises.
Sound of electric mobility.
For Nike Germany, Zimmer produced a reorchestrated hybrid arrangement of David Bowie's Heroes for an advert titled Helden, showcasing German athletes sporting Nike attire. In 2022, Hans composed the theme music for Major League Soccer to mark their 25th season. The anthem, recorded at Ocean Way Studios in Nashville and performed by over 40 session musicians, is played during pre-game processions at all MLS matches and is used as an audio signature on all MLS broadcasts around the world. Hans is also responsible, along with former mentee Lorne Balfe, for the original theme music for FIFA, which was played before every match of the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Additionally, Hans was enlisted by EA Sports to remix their original theme, adapted from Handel's Zadouk the Priest, for the UEFA Champions League and video game FIFA 19. Zimmer even acknowledged his approach to this remix as, quote, Zimmerizing the original piece, through his distinctive influence heard throughout the music, performed by a 68-piece orchestra at George Martin's Air Studios, Lyndhurst Hall. His work is also heard in the rebranding of other sporting organisations, such as his theme music for Premier Boxing Champions, utilising recordings of boxers punching, building a percussive backdrop to an orchestra, again recorded in the vast acoustic space of Lyndhurst Hall. Finally, Zimmer has also launched sonic branding for companies such as Headspace, who specialise in meditation and mindfulness, where Hans curated a playlist of music to help get you focused whilst working from home during the global pandemic. Oppo, a mobile telecommunications company, where he composed a series of original ringtones and, quote, an orchestra of system sounds to create a smartphone that sounds as good as its sophisticated, futuristic looks. And most recently, luxury watch company IWC Schaffhausen, where Zimmer composed and performed live to a private audience in Geneva a, quote, suite of unique tracks inspired by 5 new ceramic watch colours for the 2022 film Top Gun Maverick, also scored by Zimmer and Balfe. Whilst establishing a career as a film composer and helping to define the brands of other companies, Zimmer's own brand has been developed in the process, something he began to further commercialise. Since 2004, Zimmer has embarked on sold-out live tours of his back catalogue of music, performed to audiences around the world, culminating in 2017 with his successful appearance at US popular music festival Coachella, followed by a Beyoncé-esque world domination tour of 50 shows in 20 different countries. Zimmer has continued to tour with Hans Zimmer live across the world in the subsequent years, as well as endorsing productions such as The World of Hans Zimmer and The Music of Hans Zimmer vs. John Williams. Zimmer has continued to commercialize his brand by partnering with Spitfire Audio, creators of virtual instrument sample libraries used for music production, to release a series of products such as Hans Zimmer Piano, Hans Zimmer Strings, and Hans Zimmer Percussion, featuring the same players at Air Studios where Hans records his biggest scores, all mixed and produced by the man himself. Zimmer's highly influential approach to sampling acoustic instruments, mainly to mock up or demonstrate what live musicians will ultimately perform once a cue has been approved, although often also heard in final scores in isolation of or combination with live acoustic instruments, has been transformational in the industry practice of film music composition. This partnering with Spitfire Audio has made Zimmer's approach to sampling and composition commercially available, providing innovative and enabling tools to a newly democratized consumer base. Moreover, Hans partnered with Masterclass, an American online education platform on which students can access tutorials and lectures, to release a curriculum of contemporary film scoring. The huge success of these commercial enterprises have given rise to Zimmer's brand awareness within not just the film music industry, but the public conscious and socio-cultural canon. As the world starts to recognize Zimmer's influence through the commercialization of the Zimmer brand, the industrialization of his brand has been well underway behind the doors of his Santa Monica complex. In 1989, Zimmer co-founded music production company Media Ventures to act as an operational base for his film music endeavors. The company grew and was later renamed Remote Control Productions, now under Zimmer's exclusive lead, employing over 250 composers, co-composers, additional writers, arrangers, orchestrators, programmers, sound mixers, studio technicians, assistants and interns, becoming the locus for collaborative Hollywood film music practice. This industrial operation afforded Zimmer's expanse of his brand and film scoring endeavors on a significant level as he fulfills the role of a producer of music. The commercial success of Remote Control was followed by the establishment of Bleeding Fingers Music, Zimmer's partnership with Extreme Music, the production arm of Sony Music Publishing. Bleeding Fingers acts as a diverse composer collective, hand-selected and mentored by Zimmer to provide both original scores and stock music for film, television and other media around the world. The company is responsible for the music of Planet Earth 2, Blue Planet 2, and since 2017, The Simpsons, amongst numerous other productions. With Remote Control and Bleeding Fingers both situated within Zimmer's large Californian campus, together they act as a juggernaut of media music production. Through his decades-long career creating the soundtracks for over 200 feature films and television shows, his scores of sonic branding, the commercialization of his own brand through live music tours, the release of sample libraries and educational programs, and the industrialization of his brand through the infrastructure of Remote Control and Bleeding Fingers, Zimmer has built an empire, redefining the roles and responsibilities of a film composer in the contemporary environment. While this empire has come under significant criticism in recent years, such as the 2022 Vanity Fair article titled "The Ugly Truth of How Movie Scores Are Made," which reads as an expose of Zimmer's collaborative practice, working environments like that of Remote Control or Bleeding Fingers act as fertile breeding grounds for the future generations of composers, many of whom already established, providing an unparalleled learning environment of contemporary film scoring practice. Through this case study analysis of Hans Zimmer and his cinematic rebranding for Netflix, numerous pertinent topics have been explored. Zimmer's illustrious career highlights the changing status, roles and responsibilities of the composer, whilst the evolution of Netflix's sonic logo from a 3-second mnemonic ident to a theatrical experience is emblematic of the evolution of Netflix as a company and their growing dominance as a major Hollywood studio, now controlling the means of production, distribution and consumption. Zimmer's original score is a vital component of the ident's evolution that is now more reminiscent in form and function of the logos of the major Hollywood studios. However, unlike Universal or 20th Century Pictures, who preserve the nostalgia and legacy of old Hollywood through the contemporary recordings of their established Wagnerian fanfares of the 1930s onwards, Netflix's approach to sonic branding reflects the innovation of their company and the double helix of technology and entertainment coming together through the compositional approaches of the 21st century and that of its most prolific composer. Hans Zimmer.